The journey begins not with motion, but with stillness. Before engines awaken, before trajectories are calculated, before intention itself takes shape, there is silence, a silence so complete it feels less like the absence of sound and more like a presence of its own. Not empty, not hollow, simply vast, the kind of silence that stretches in all directions, unconcerned with time, unconcerned with observers. You are suspended within it, far behind you, so distant that it has already begun to soften at the edges of memory. A familiar star burns, a modest yellow sun, a small, faithful thing wrapped in the orbiting dust of its worlds. From this distance, even that once mighty system has become just another pinprick of light, indistinguishable from the countless others stitched across the dark. There is no acceleration now, no sense of speed. Motion exists only as a gradual shift in the geometry of stars, a slow parallax that unfolds over minutes, then hours, then years. The human mind searches for reference points and finds none. Up and down dissolve. Direction loses meaning. There is only forward, defined not by momentum, but by intention. You are moving between stars. The void here is not empty. It is textured with ancient photons, relics of explosions that happened before any thought ever formed. Light drifts through the dark like sediment in a cosmic ocean, stretched thin by expansion, cooled by time. Some of it has been traveling for billions of years, crossing galaxies without ever touching anything. Until it brushes past the hulls of silent instruments and glides across your awareness. This is interstellar space, a place where distances are not measured in kilometers, but in patience. The stars ahead do not rush closer. Instead, they slowly rearrange themselves, subtle and deliberate. Constellations unthread and reform. Familiar shapes dissolve into new geometries. A pale blue star slides behind a red giant. A white dwarf glints briefly, then fades. The universe reshuffles itself without urgency, as if inviting you to slow your perception to match its pace. There is no sound here, not even the whisper of movement. Sound requires air, vibration, something to carry it. Here, there is only vacuum, perfect, forgiving, absolute. Any machinery that accompanies you moves in silence, wrapped in fields that dampen even the suggestion of friction. Massive structures glide like thoughts, drifting through a dream. Far ahead, almost lost among the stellar background, a particular glow begins to distinguish itself. It is not brighter than the others, not yet. It is simply steadier, less prone to flicker. Its light holds a consistency that draws attention not through intensity, but through calm. This is the destination, a star selected not for drama, but for reliability, not for brilliance, but for balance. A main sequence star, stable and patient, burning hydrogen with unhurried discipline. It has done so for billions of years already, and will continue long after memory itself fades. As you drift closer, the surrounding darkness subtly thins. The star's influence becomes perceptible, not as heat, not yet, but as order. Dust grains align. Particles curve gently inward. Base itself seems to lean toward the gravity, well, as if acknowledging a quiet authority. The star does not rage. It does not flare in anger or pulse unpredictably. It simply exists, converting mass into light with tireless regularity. Every second, millions of tons of matter are transformed into energy, radiating outward in all directions. Most of it is wasted, spilling into the void, never touching anything at all. This is the opportunity. As the distance closes, scale begins to reveal itself in layers. First, the star is a disk, then a sphere, then a vast, boiling surface of plasma, textured like a living ocean. Vast convection cells churn slowly, each one larger than continents, rising and falling in patterns older than memory. The color shifts subtly as you draw nearer, soft golds bleeding into whites, hints of amber at the edges. Magnetic arcs stretch above the surface in slow, elegant loops, taller than planets, yet so gentle in motion They seem almost still. There is no violence here, only motion obeying rules so deeply ingrained that they appear peaceful. You pass the boundary where solar wind begins to whisper, not audibly, but through motion. Streams of charged particles flow outward in all directions, brushing past your presence, like a tide you can feel but never hear. They carry energy, information, momentum. They are the breath of the star, and still, everything remains quiet. The sense of scale deepens. A single second of this star's output could power entire civilizations for millennia. A single hour could reshape worlds, and yet, almost all of it is lost, spilling endlessly into the dark, warming nothing, lighting nothing, touching no one. This is not waste born of carelessness. It is simply abundance without purpose. For now, as you drift closer, the star fills more of your view until it dominates the forward horizon. It no longer feels like an object. It feels like an environment, a presence, a source. Around it, space remains untouched. No satellites yet, no scaffolding, no signs of intervention, just purity, raw astrophysical truth, unaltered by intention, and yet subtle markers begin to appear. Far from the star itself, tiny points glint into existence. At first, they could be mistaken for dust or cosmic rays, but their motion is too precise, too coordinated. They do not tumble, they do not drift. They hold formation with patient discipline. These are the first observers. They are small, no larger than buildings, some no larger than rooms, but they move with purpose. They measure, they map, they listen. Their sensors drink in radiation, magnetic flux, particle density. They trace gravitational contours, the way fingertips trace a surface in the dark. They do not alter anything yet. They only learn. Around them, the void remains calm. The star continues its slow burn. Time stretches comfortably, unhurried. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like gentle pauses between breaths. This is the moment before intention becomes action. The moment before change, everything that will come, the dismantling of worlds, the weaving of light, the construction of a shell large enough to hold civilizations, rests quietly in potential. For now, there is only drift, only the steady glow of a patient star, only the silence of space, vast and forgiving, waiting to be shaped. The star does not announce itself with drama. It simply is. From a distance, it appears calm, an unblinking circle of pale gold, suspended in the velvet dark. But as your awareness drifts closer, scale reveals its quiet intensity. This is not a surface in the way a planet has a surface. It is a boundary between forces so immense that language struggles to keep pace. The star is a living equation. Every second, deep within its core, hydrogen atoms surrender their identities. They fuse, not violently, but with patient inevitability, becoming helium and releasing energy that has waited millions of years to reach this moment. That energy begins a slow journey outward, colliding, scattering, ricocheting through layers of plasma so dense that a single photon may take tens of thousands of years to escape. What you see now, this calm, glowing disk, is ancient light finally reaching freedom. There is no sound to mark this process, no roar, no crackle, just motion without noise, pressure without touch, heat without flame. The silence is complete, yet somehow full. The surface of the star undulates gently, like a golden ocean seen from impossible height. Vast convective cells rise and fall, each one larger than continents once were on Earth. They bloom, stretch, and dissolve, replaced by others in an endless, slow choreography. Nothing about it is rushed. The star has all the time in the universe. Magnetic fields arc gracefully above the surface, invisible structures made visible only by their effect on plasma. They loop and twist, forming luminous bridges that rise and fall like slow-motion fountains of fire. Each arc traces lines of unimaginable force, yet even these are calm, disciplined. contained. Occasionally, a flare blossoms, not an explosion, but a release. A ribbon of light unfurls into space, expanding outward in silence, its energy diffusing into the void. From this distance, it feels ceremonial rather than violent, a reminder of the power held gently within. This is a star chosen for stability. It does not pulse unpredictably. It does not swell toward destruction. Its mass, temperature, and rotation exist in elegant balance. For billions of years, it has burned with almost no change, a constant beacon in an evolving galaxy, and it will continue to do so for billions more. That longevity is the foundation of everything that follows. As you draw closer, the scale becomes almost impossible to hold in the mind. The star fills your field of awareness, yet you remain far from its surface. Its diameter dwarfs the orbits of inner worlds. Entire planetary systems could pass between you and its photosphere without brushing its glow. The light itself feels thick, not oppressive, but present. It presses gently against perception, warming without touching. Colors shift subtly across the surface: pale golds, soft whites, hints of amber and ivory, like layers of sunlight stacked upon each other. There is order here, mathematical precision woven into plasma and gravity. Deep within the star, gravity presses inward with immense patience, compressing matter until fusion becomes inevitable. Outward, radiation pushes back with equal resolve. Neither wins. Their balance defines the star's life. This balance is why it was chosen. Around the star, space begins to feel structured, not crowded, never crowded, but organized. Invisible gradients of gravity shape, invisible lanes through which matter prefers to travel. Even light bends ever so slightly, acknowledging the mass at the center. The star is not alone. It is accompanied by a quiet architecture of space itself. As observation deepens, subtle variations become visible across its surface. Darker regions drift like slow-moving storms, cooler than their surroundings, but still hotter than any furnace humanity ever built. They appear, stretch, and fade over weeks and months, leaving no scars behind. Time behaves differently here. Seconds stretch. Minutes soften. The mind adjusts its tempo to match the star's patience. Nothing hurries. Nothing needs to. The star radiates more energy in a heartbeat than civilizations could use in lifetimes. Most of it escapes into the void, never touching matter again. This inefficiency is not a flaw. It is simply nature operating without an audience. Yet now, an audience has arrived. Tiny instruments glide at respectful distances, mapping magnetic fields, measuring particle flows, tracing radiation output. They are infinitesimal compared to the star, like dust motes circling a bonfire. They do not disturb it. They merely observe, and through them, understanding grows. This star's spectrum is clean, its emissions stable, its variability minimal. It does not flare violently or shed mass unpredictably. Its rotation is measured, neither too fast nor too slow. It offers consistency, an energy source that can be planned around for epochs. This is not conquest, this is partnership. The star does not resist observation. It does not react. It continues its endless fusion, indifferent yet generous. The energy it produces will never notice when some fraction of it is captured. The loss is negligible, the gain immeasurable. Around the star, the void seems to settle, as if recognizing the beginning of purpose. The surrounding darkness feels less empty, more intentional, a stage prepared for construction that will unfold over centuries. The concept of scale deepens again. If one could place Earth beside this star, it would vanish into the glare, reduced to a speck of dust. If one could place the entire history of human civilization next to the lifespan of this star, it would be a fleeting shimmer, less than a blink. And yet, this is the star that will host something extraordinary. A structure not of conquest, but of harmony. a shell not to imprison the star, but to listen to it. The energy pouring outward, light, heat, radiation, will one day be gently redirected, not stolen, not forced, simply gathered, like rain falling into an endless basin. For now, nothing changes. The star continues to burn. The void continues to cradle it. The instruments continue to watch, and somewhere within the quiet mathematics of gravity and fusion, the blueprint for a future megastructure quietly aligns itself with reality. This is the moment before creation begins. The star waits. The first change does not happen at the star. It happens closer in, where the light is sharper, more concentrated, where space itself feels warmer. Not in temperature, but in intensity. Here, gravity tightens its grip, and motion becomes more purposeful. This is the domain of the innermost worlds, small and ancient bodies that have circled their star since the system's birth. One of them waits in silence. It is a planet in name only now, a relic, a sphere of metal and stone baked hard by eons of proximity. Its surface is a map of scars, impact craters overlapping like memories, layered too densely to separate. No air softens its edges, no water smooths its contours. There is no weather here, no erosion, no sound, only exposure. The star looms vast in its sky, filling half of it with blazing light. Shadows are sharp and absolute. Temperatures swing violently between blistering brightness and frozen darkness, depending on which side faces the sun. Nothing moves unless compelled to. This world has waited a long time to be useful. From a distance, the first machines approach. They do not roar. They do not announce themselves. They arrive like thoughts, precise, deliberate, inevitable, small at first, barely distinguishable from the scattered debris that already orbits the star. Then more follow, forming slow, elegant constellations of motion. They are not ships in the traditional sense. They have no windows, no crew, no sense of orientation, meant for living minds. They are tools, autonomous, patient, designed for work measured in centuries. As they draw closer, the surface of the planet reveals its composition. Rich veins of iron, oceans of silicate rock, deep reservoirs of nickel, cobalt, and heavier elements forged in ancient stellar cores before this world ever existed. Everything needed to build a megastructure lies here, locked inside a dead sphere. The first contact is gentle. A single machine touches down, its mass barely registering against the planet's gravity. Anchors extend, not to hold against movement, but to establish reference. The machine unfolds like a flower made of geometry, panels rotating, limbs extending, instruments waking from dormancy. There is no noise. Rock does not scream when cut in vacuum, metal does not ring. Energy flows silently through superconducting veins. Lasers begin their work, not as violent beams, but as precise threads of light that trace patterns across the surface. Stone warms, then softens, then yields. Material lifts away in controlled streams, not as debris, but as carefully directed flows of particulate matter. Dust does not billow, it drifts. Pebbles do not fall, they float, guided by electromagnetic fields into waiting collectors. Across the planet, this process repeats. Thousands of machines awaken, then tens of thousands. They spread out in vast, methodical lattices, each assigned a region measured not in meters, but in square kilometers. Their movements are slow, almost ceremonial. There is no haste. Efficiency here is defined not by speed, but by harmony. The planet does not resist. Over decades, subtle changes appear. The sharpness of its silhouette softens. Craters lose their depth. Mountain ranges lower, not through collapse, but through careful subtraction. Material is lifted away layer by layer, sorted atom by atom. Heavy elements are separated from lighter ones. Useful metals are refined in transit, suspended in electromagnetic streams that glow faintly as they spiral outward. Less useful matter is catalogued and stored, not discarded. nothing is wasted. From a distance, the planet seems to be exhaling. A thin halo of shimmering particles forms around it, a temporary atmosphere of dust and ionized minerals, held in place by gentle fields. Sunlight refracts through this halo, casting subtle rainbows that arc briefly before fading. Time stretches. Years pass, then decades. The process never accelerates. There is no urgency. Each phase completes before the next begins, guided by calculations that extend centuries into the future. This is not mining driven by scarcity. It is transformation guided by patience. Gradually, the planet's mass begins to change. Its gravity weakens imperceptibly at first, then measurably. Escape velocities lower. Material becomes easier to lift, to redirect. The body shrinks not through collapse, but through careful thinning. Entire regions are deconstructed, leaving behind smooth basins where mountains once stood. What remains is not ruin, but order. The machines coordinate with flawless timing. They never collide. Their paths interweave like a slow ballet, each aware of the others through constant communication. From afar, it looks like a living system, an artificial ecosystem devoted to disassembly. Streams of refined material begin to arc away from the planet, forming luminous ribbons that trail off toward distant construction zones. These streams move with serene inevitability, curving along gravitational gradients, glowing faintly in the star's light. The planet grows smaller. Centuries pass. Where once a full world orbited, there is now a broken sphere, then a half-sphere, then a collection of fragments held together by intention rather than gravity. The core is exposed at last, a dense heart of metal that has never seen light. It, too, is taken apart. There is no final explosion. No catastrophic collapse, only a gradual thinning until nothing remains that can be called a planet. What was once a world is now a memory encoded in data and dispersed matter. In its place, a graceful cloud of resources orbits the star. The region where the planet once traveled is now marked only by motion streams of material flowing outward, guided toward distant foundries. The orbit itself remains an invisible track where a world once was, now empty but remembered. This absence feels intentional. The star continues to burn, indifferent and constant. The void accepts the change without comment. Gravity adjusts, recalculates, moves on. The harvest is complete. What has been taken will not become weapons or monuments. It will become structure, support, foundation. From the dismantled bones of a dead world, something vast and ordered will rise. But for now, there is only the quiet aftermath. Dust glimmers where a planet once shone, and far away in the cold dark between orbits, the first foundations of a greater design begin to take shape. The materials do not rush toward their purpose. They drift. After the long unmaking of the inner planet, its substance now exists as a constellation of motion streams of refined metals, lattices of silicon, clouds of trace elements, all guided along invisible paths. Nothing collides, nothing tumbles chaotically. Each particle knows where it belongs, guided by fields too subtle to feel and calculations too vast to comprehend. Here, in the quiet between the star and the empty reaches beyond, the foundries awaken. They do not sit on solid ground. There is no ground here to claim. Instead, they float enormous structures suspended in free space, rotating with gentle precision. From a distance, they resemble slow turning sculptures, vast and symmetrical, each 1 kilometer across. Their forms are smooth and deliberate, shaped not by aesthetics, but by efficiency and balance. There is no sound. Even as systems activate, even as energy flows and matter transforms, the vacuum remains absolute. Motion is conveyed only through light and shadow, through the shifting glow of heated material and the faint gleam of electromagnetic fields. The foundries are alive in their own way. They awaken in stages. Outer frames stabilize first, establishing orientation and rotational equilibrium. Long arms extend outward, capturing incoming streams of material with a grace that feels almost ceremonial. The material arrives not as rubble, but as organized flows, ribbons of metal, clouds of ionized dust, neatly separated by composition. Within the foundries, gravity is optional. Some chambers rotate gently to simulate it, allowing molten metals to pool and layer naturally. Others remain in perfect free fall, where liquids form shimmering spheres, trembling with surface tension. In these weightless chambers, matter behaves in unfamiliar ways, forming shapes that could never exist on a planetary surface. Molten iron glows a deep orange, slow and heavy, like captured sunlight. Nickel shimmers paler, smoother. Silicates form translucent currents, folding over themselves like liquid glass. Each substance is guided into its own domain, refined to near perfection. Heat is abundant, but controlled. Energy siphoned from the nearby star is directed with exquisite precision. It does not blaze or flare, it flows. Temperatures rise only where needed, exactly as much as required, then fall away again. Cooling radiators unfurl like vast, delicate wings, shedding excess heat into space as faint infrared whispers. From afar, the foundries resemble halos of soft light glowing against the black. Within them, manufacturing unfolds on a scale that defies intuition. Sheets of metal are drawn out so thin they verge on translucence, micrometers thick, yet spanning kilometers. They ripple gently as they cool, tension smoothing them into flawless planes. These sheets will become mirrors, collectors, shields, each one tuned to interact with light in a precise way. Elsewhere, stronger materials are woven. Carbon atoms are arranged into lattices of astonishing strength, forming cables that could span worlds without sagging. These filaments are extruded slowly, coiling into enormous spools that drift like sleeping serpents. Nothing is hurried. The timeline stretches comfortably into centuries. Every process is reversible, every mistake correctable. There is no waste, only transformation. The foundries communicate continuously, sharing data across vast distances at the speed of light. Adjustments ripple through the network in quiet coordination. If a microfracture appears in one structure, others compensate, subtly altering their outputs to maintain balance. This is not industry as humanity once knew it. There are no sparks, no clangs, no smoke, no urgency, only intention expressed through physics. From the outside, the foundries appear almost meditative, slowly turning mandalas of metal and light, suspended against the star's glow. Their shadows stretch long and thin across the surrounding void, overlapping like the petals of an immense mechanical flower. As centuries pass, the volume of material increases. Streams of completed components begin to drift away from the foundries, guided along gentle trajectories. These are not yet assembled. They are pieces of a future geometry, panels, struts, nodes, and filaments, each tagged, each aware of its eventual position. They travel in silence, escorted by soft magnetic fields, moving at velocities so precise they seem motionless unless observed for long periods. To watch them is to watch time itself being shaped. Occasionally, the star flares softly in the distance, bathing the foundries in gold. The light glides across polished surfaces, reflecting in complex patterns. Every reflection is calculated, every angle chosen to minimize heat stress and maximize energy capture. Even chaos has been designed out. The foundries do not tire. They do not falter. They operate on timescales that dwarf civilizations. A century passes like a breath, a millennium like a gentle pause. And slowly, the space around the star begins to change. What was once emptiness now holds structure, not cluttered, not crowded, just purposefully occupied. Lines of motion emerge, corridors of transit form. Invisible architecture takes shape long before any visible structure connects it. This is the quiet birth of infrastructure, far from the star where the darkness still reigns. The first completed components begin to gather. They do not assemble yet. They wait, aligned with mathematical precision, like notes held in suspension before a symphony begins. Everything is prepared. The materials are refined. The geometry is defined. The energy flows steadily and endlessly. Soon the pieces will begin to move together. Soon the swarm will be born. But for now, the foundries continue their work, silent, tireless, and patient, transforming the remnants of a world into the foundation of something vast enough to touch eternity. The moment does not arrive with ceremony. There is no countdown, no ignition flare, no sudden transformation. The beginning of the swarm is not an event so much as a transition, a quiet shift from preparation into motion, so subtle it could be missed if one were not watching closely. For a long time, the structures have waited. They drift in vast holding formations beyond the star's inner glare, thousands upon thousands of components, suspended in carefully balanced orbits. Each one is complete in itself, a mirror panel thinner than paper, but stronger than steel, a support strut, spun from carbon lattices, a control node filled with silent logic. They are identical in purpose, but varied in form, each shaped for a precise role in the greater geometry to come. Together, they form a sleeping constellation. Then, slowly, the stillness changes. A single adjustment passes through the network, an alignment update, a recalibration of position. It propagates outward at the speed of light, touching every unit simultaneously. There is no command, no hierarchy. Each piece simply recognizes that the time has arrived. Motion begins. At first, it is almost imperceptible. A gentle nudge, a fractional change in velocity. The swarm does not surge forward, it unfolds. Each component follows a mathematically perfect trajectory, curving inward toward the star, while maintaining exact separation from every other piece. From a distance, it looks like a soft exhale. The star remains steady at the center, radiating its constant light. Against that brilliance, the first elements of the swarm catch the glow and reflect it outward. Tiny flashes glint into existence, pinpricks of silver drifting across the darkness. They move not in lines, but in arcs. Each mirror adjusts its orientation continuously, tilting and pivoting to balance incoming radiation, maintaining thermal equilibrium while guiding its path. Their surfaces are impossibly smooth, engineered to interact with light at the atomic level. Photons strike, transfer momentum, and glide away, contributing to the silent dance. This is not chaos, it is choreography. As more elements join the motion, the pattern becomes visible. A ring begins to emerge, not a solid band, but a suggestion of one, a halo of motion encircling the star, delicate and vast. Gaps remain wide enough to swallow planets, yet the overall structure hints at completeness. The swarm grows denser by degrees. Streams of new components drift in from the foundries, joining the flow with perfect timing. There is no congestion, no collision. Every path has been calculated long in advance. Every intersection avoided by margins measured in kilometers and milliseconds. From afar, the swarm resembles a river of silver light pouring endlessly around the star. It shimmers not because it is chaotic, but because it is precise. Light scatters off millions of surfaces, each angled just slightly differently, creating a living mosaic of reflection. The star responds subtly, not with fear or resistance, but with interaction. Photons that once streamed freely into space now encounter surfaces waiting to receive them. Some are reflected, some are absorbed and re-emitted. The star's energy begins to trace new paths, guided into channels of use rather than dispersal. Yet nothing dims. From a distance, the star still shines brilliantly. The swarm does not eclipse it, it ornaments it, a delicate lace of motion wrapped around a radiant core. As time passes, the pattern grows richer, layers form. Inner orbits settle into stable rhythms while outer ones adjust to compensate. The entire system hums with mathematical harmony, like a chord held perfectly in tune. There is still no sound. If one could hear it, it might resemble the faintest chiming, an impression rather than a vibration. But in truth, there is only motion and light and the quiet assurance of precision. The swarm's scale soon defies easy comprehension. What began as thousands of elements becomes millions, then billions. Each one occupies its own path, its own orbit, its own relationship to the star and to its neighbors. The distances between them are vast, yet the pattern remains coherent. From close by, each component feels solitary, isolated in the immensity of space. From far away, they resolve into structure, a luminous shell in progress, porous and alive. Time stretches again. Decades pass, then centuries. The swarm thickens. The glow around the star grows softer, more diffused, as more of its light is intercepted and redirected. From certain angles, the star appears to shimmer, as though viewed through a veil of diamond dust. The system reaches a kind of equilibrium. New components continue to arrive, but the overall form stabilizes. The orbits become self-correcting, guided by subtle feedback loops and gravitational harmonies. This is not construction in the human sense. There are no stages to rush through, no deadlines to meet. The swarm grows like a living organism, responding to internal and external forces with graceful adaptation. At times, clusters of mirrors adjust their alignment together, shifting their collective angle by fractions of a degree. The effect ripples outward, a slow wave of motion that takes hours to complete. Watching it feels like watching a thought travel through a mind the size of a solar system. The star's light, once a wild flood, is now being shaped. Some of it is captured and stored. Some is redirected toward distant regions where future structures will rise. Some continues outward, unchanged, preserving the balance between presence and absence. The star remains visible, but softened. Its edges blur. Its brilliance diffuses through layers of reflection until it appears almost gentle. This is the first true transformation, not the erasure of a star, but the beginning of a partnership. The swarm does not enclose. It listens, it learns, it adjusts. Each component records data thermal flux, radiation pressure, micro variations in gravitational pull. Over time, the swarm becomes an instrument as much as a structure, sensing the star in exquisite detail. The space around it becomes dynamic, alive with motion that is orderly and calm. What was once empty is now purposeful. What was once wasted light is now potential. And still, the work continues. More elements drift into position. More light is captured. The geometry grows denser, more refined, preparing for the next phase, where connection replaces collection and the scattered mirrors begin to speak to one another in threads of light. For now, the swarm glides in silence, a constellation in motion, a promise forming, one reflection at a time. The motion begins so gently that it almost escapes notice. For a long time, the swarm has existed as a loose congregation of mirrors and structures, each following its own orbit, each maintaining its own quiet conversation with the star. Now, something subtle shifts. Not a command, not an order, more like a shared understanding spreading through the system. Gravity begins to speak. It does not speak loudly. It never does. Gravity persuades rather than commands. It whispers direction through curvature, through the slow bending of paths that were never truly straight to begin with. Across the vast field of orbiting structures, micro-adjustments occur. A mirror tilts by a fraction of a degree. A support frame alters its trajectory by a margin measured in millimeters per s-econ. These changes are almost imperceptible, yet they ripple outward, synchronizing motion across millions of independent bodies. The swarm begins to dance. At first, the choreography is loose. Individual components trace elegant arcs, their paths weaving past one another with immense patience. Distances between them are vast, thousands of kilometers in some cases, yet their movements are intimately connected. Each object knows where every other object will be, not through awareness, but through mathematics made physical. This is orbital resonance, made visible. The star remains at the center, a constant anchor of gravity and light. Around it, the swarm arranges itself into nested flows, rings within rings, each slightly tilted, each rotating at its own carefully chosen speed. No two orbits are identical, yet all are stable. There is no friction here, no turbulence. Motion persists because nothing resists it. From a distance, the system resembles a living mandala. Lines of movement trace delicate patterns that repeat and evolve, never colliding, never intersecting improperly. What might appear chaotic at a glance resolves, with patience, into order. The silence deepens. Without sound, the only sensation is visual rhythm. The eye follows a mirror as it glides along its path, then another, until perception shifts and the entire swarm seems to rotate as one immense organism. Gravity shapes this dance gently. Each component contributes a tiny influence, a whisper of mass adding to the collective field. Together, these whispers shape the flow of everything else. The system becomes self-regulating, its stability emerging not from rigidity, but from balance. Some elements drift closer to the star, dipping into regions of stronger gravitational pull. Their orbits tighten, speeds increasing subtly. Others remain farther out, moving more slowly, creating layered shells of motion. The differences are minute, but over time, they create structure. Patterns emerge, spirals form, broad, graceful arcs that wrap around the star, composed not of matter, but of motion itself. These spirals persist, dissolve, and reform, shaped by the constant interplay of gravity and inertia. To observe this is to witness physics thinking. Every orbit is a solution to an equation. Every adjustment is a response to a force applied long ago. Nothing is wasted, nothing collides. Every movement serves stability. Time stretches again. Days pass unnoticed. Then, years. The swarm continues its silent ballet, refining its choreography. Minor instabilities dampen themselves out. Regions of higher density redistribute. The entire structure becomes smoother, more coherent. The star's light interacts with this motion in subtle ways. As mirrors move, reflections shift, creating slow waves of brightness that ripple across the swarm. These luminous patterns travel like tides, their speed governed by orbital mechanics rather than water or wind. From certain vantage points, the star appears to pulse, not because it changes, but because the swarm modulates its light with exquisite precision. Still, no sound. Even the concept of vibration feels distant here. Motion exists without friction, without resistance. The universe turns silently, like a thought unfolding. As centuries pass, the system matures. Feedback mechanisms deepen. Slight deviations in orbit are corrected automatically through minute exchanges of momentum. Some components gently adjust their mass distribution, extending or retracting tiny structures to fine-tune their behavior. The dance becomes self-sustaining. No central controller is required. The system is decentralized, emergent, resilient. It adapts without panic. It corrects without force. From afar, one might mistake the swarm for a living thing, a vast, slow-breathing organism encircling its star. But it does not hunger. It does not strive. It simply exists in equilibrium. The scale is difficult to hold in the mind. Each individual element could house a city. Yet together, they are grains of dust in a structure that spans millions of kilometers. Their collective motion paints geometry across space itself. The star's gravity binds them, but they are not prisoners. They are partners in a long, patient dance. And as the choreography settles into its final form, a new phenomenon emerges. Connections, subtle beams of light begin to flicker between select components. Not yet networks, just tentative links. Measurements shared, synchronizations tested. The first hints of communication. The swarm is learning to act as one. This is not yet a structure, not yet a shell. It is a system discovering its own coherence. The dance continues, slower now, smoother, more confident. The orbits align into long-term harmony, stable enough to endure for millennia. And as the motions settle, as the rhythm locks into place, the next phase approaches naturally. Inevitably, light itself will soon become a thread. The first connection is barely noticeable. It is not a beam in the dramatic sense, not a flash or a line cutting across the dark. It is a soft alignment, two mirrors drifting in their long, patient orbits, subtly angling toward one another. Between them, a thread of light appears. Thin, pale, almost uncertain. It lasts only a moment. Then it steadies. The light does not travel from one to the other in the way a signal might. It exists between them, suspended, coherent, a relationship rather than a transmission. When one mirror adjusts, the other responds not by command, but by shared geometry. This is the beginning of the web. Across the growing swarm, similar moments occur. Not all at once, not with any announcement. Individual elements recognize alignment opportunities, angles where reflection becomes conversation. Photons bounce not outward into space, but sideways, inward, laterally, weaving paths that curve gently around the star. From a distance, the effect is subtle, a faint shimmer, barely distinguishable from the star's own glow. But up close, the structure reveals itself. Lines of light forming transient bridges between moving bodies, appearing and dissolving as orbits shift. This is not a rigid network. It is a living lattice. Each beam carries information, position, velocity, energy flux, timing. Light becomes both messenger and medium. The swarm begins to sense itself, to understand its own shape, not through centralized awareness, but through constant, local interaction. The star watches silently, its light now both source and substance. As more links form, the web grows denser. Threads overlap, intersect, diverge. Some persist for seconds, others for centuries. Patterns emerge that are not planned but inevitable, natural consequences of geometry and motion finding harmony. From afar, the star begins to look different. Where once it shone as a singular disk, now it seems veiled, as though seen through a fine mesh of luminescence. The light flickers not erratically but rhythmically, modulated by the swarm's slow breathing. The web is not static, it breathes. As components orbit, beams stretch and contract. Some connections fade as angles shift, while others strengthen. The system continuously rewires itself, always maintaining balance, always avoiding redundancy or overload. There is no central hub. Intelligence emerges from relationship, not command. This is a structure made not of beams or panels alone, but of timing and trust, of precise delays and gentle synchronizations. Each element knows when to reflect, when to absorb, when to pass energy onward. The effect is hypnotic. Light travels through the swarm in slow waves, like tides crossing a cosmic shore. From one vantage point, the entire structure seems to pulse. From another, it glows steadily, serene and unchanging. The star's output is now being shaped in real time. Some wavelengths are guided inward toward regions where energy will later be stored or transformed. Others are redirected outward, preserving equilibrium. Nothing is wasted, but nothing is hoarded either. Balance is the governing principle. The web grows thicker. Millions become billions. The spaces between mirrors shrink, not physically, but functionally. Communication becomes nearly instantaneous across vast distances, not because of speed alone, but because the system anticipates itself. The swarm predicts its own future states and prepares for them before they occur. From within, the experience would feel like standing inside a cathedral made of light. Above, below, and in every direction, luminous threads stretch away into infinity. curving gently with the geometry of space. There are no straight lines here, only arcs, loops, and slow, graceful turns. There is still no sound. Yet if sound could exist, it would be a sustained chord, endlessly resolving and reforming, never quite repeating. The star, now partially veiled, appears softer. Its edges blur into a halo of refracted brilliance. It no longer dominates the scene, it collaborates with it. The web begins to cast faint patterns into the surrounding void, shadows not of darkness, but of altered brightness, regions where light has been redirected, filtered, tuned. These patterns drift outward, visible only to those patient enough to notice. They mark the growing influence of the structure, its gentle rewriting of space. Time continues its unhurried passage. Centuries pass. The web thickens further. What began as sparse connections becomes a layered network, with depth as well as breadth. Some layers specialize in energy capture. Others focus on stabilization. Still others exist purely to maintain symmetry, ensuring that the entire system remains dynamically balanced. The swarm is no longer merely orbiting. It is thinking, though not in thoughts, but in equations made real. Every orbit, every beam, every adjustment is a line in a vast silent computation, calculating the most stable way to exist around a star for millions of years. From afar, the system now resembles a luminous cocoon. The star glows from within it, its light filtered and refracted into a soft pearlescent sheen. The harshness of naked fusion is gone, replaced by a gentler radiance. Yet the web remains porous. Space still flows through it. The star still breathes into the universe. This is not enclosure, it is preparation. The web is learning how to hold shape, how to distribute force, how to share load across unimaginable distances without strain. Soon, structure will emerge from this light, but for now, the web remains fluid, adaptive, alive with motion. A vast instrument tuning itself, a prelude to solidity, a promise that light itself can be woven. And as the last stray reflections settle into alignment, the web reaches a quiet equilibrium, stable, resilient, and ready. The time for frames approaches. The web does not harden all at once. It pauses, not in motion, but in intention. After centuries of weaving light and motion into harmony, the swarm reaches a threshold where fluidity alone is no longer sufficient. The dance has found its rhythm. The equations have converged. What comes next is not movement, but support. The great frame begins as an idea expressed through alignment. Across the luminous web, certain paths grow brighter, not because they carry more energy, but because they are chosen. These pathways stabilize, their trajectories locking into near-perfect resonance. Where countless lines once shimmered in gentle flux, a smaller number begin to persist. They do not glow brighter, they grow steadier. This is the first sign of structure. Within these stable corridors, new forms emerge, long, slender elements, extruded slowly from the foundries that still orbit farther out. These are not mirrors. They do not reflect. They endure. Carbon lattices, braided at the atomic level, stretch outward like tendons of a colossal organism. Each strand is stronger than steel by orders of magnitude, yet flexible enough to bend under stress rather than fracture. They grow not by extension but by assembly, segments locking together in quiet sequence. From a distance, they appear as lines drawn against the dark. From within, they feel infinite. Each segment is positioned with extreme care. There is no redundancy, no waste. Every connection serves a purpose, distributing force, maintaining geometry, anchoring motion. These structures do not resist gravity. They conduct it, channeling stress through the frame, the way nerves transmit sensation. The frame is not a shell yet. It is a skeleton, learning its own shape. As more of these structural filaments interlock, patterns emerge, vast geodesic arcs, spanning thousands of kilometers. They curve gently around the star, defining enormous triangular and hexagonal regions, where future panels will one day rest. The star's light filters through this growing lattice, casting long, soft shadows that sweep slowly across space. The shadows themselves become markers of progress, sliding across invisible surfaces that are only just beginning to exist. There is no sound as the frame grows. Connections seal silently. Energy flows without vibration. If one could touch these structures, they would feel impossibly solid, yet somehow warm. Not from heat, but from stored potential. The process unfolds over centuries. Some segments take decades to align perfectly. Tiny adjustments are made continuously, measured in microns across distances larger than planets. Nothing is rushed. The system is patient beyond comprehension. Occasionally, a segment is removed, unlatched, and guided away, because its placement, though nearly perfect, introduces a subtle imbalance. This is not failure, it is refinement. The structure learns. As more of the frame comes together, the space around the star begins to feel different. Not brighter, not darker, but more defined. There is a sense of boundary forming, even though nothing fully encloses yet. The star still shines freely, but now its light interacts with something solid. It glances off edges, refracts through narrow gaps, scatters in complex geometries. Shadows stretch across the forming lattice, creating patterns that drift slowly with orbital motion. From afar, the system now resembles an immense skeletal flower, petals of structure unfolding around a radiant core. Gravity responds. The mass of the frame, though distributed, begins to influence local orbits. The swarm adjusts automatically, fine-tuning positions to maintain equilibrium. Where gravitational wells deepen, elements shift. Where stress accumulates, load is redistributed. The frame does not fight physics. It becomes physics. Within the structure, pathways open vast corridors of open space, bounded by struts thicker than mountains. These corridors will one day host flows of energy, matter, and motion, but for now they remain empty, waiting. The scale is difficult to grasp. A single strut could span the distance from Earth to the Moon. A single joint could contain the volume of a small planet. Yet from afar, these colossal forms appear delicate, like filigree drawn in light. Time passes differently here. Centuries slide by as quietly as seconds. The star continues its steady burn, unchanged, while the framework around it grows ever more intricate. The star is no longer merely surrounded, it is being embraced. Still, the structure remains open. Gaps yawn between segments, vast and intentional. This is not yet a shell, it is a skeleton preparing for skin. Light continues to pass through freely, illuminating both sides of the framework. From some angles, the star still appears unobstructed. From others, it is broken into shimmering fragments by the geometry of the frame. The visual effect is mesmerizing, a luminous core wrapped in an ever-thickening lattice of shadow and glow. This is the stage where permanence begins to take shape. The frame establishes reference points that will not drift. It defines up and down, inside and out. It creates the first true boundaries in a system that was once only motion. Every connection is a promise. Every beam is a commitment to endurance. The structure is not yet complete, but it is now inevitable. The framework hums, not audibly, but conceptually, with readiness. It has reached a state where expansion is no longer experimental. It is stable enough to support enclosure. Soon, surfaces will stretch between these bones. Soon, the star's light will no longer spill freely into space. But for now, the great frame stands open and vast, a cathedral without walls, a skeleton of destiny slowly wrapping itself around a sun. The star burns on, patient and constant. The structure waits, and in the quiet between heartbeats of the cosmos, the final shape begins to suggest itself. The change begins almost imperceptibly. For a long while, the great frame has existed as a promise, vast, skeletal, open to the cosmos. Light has passed freely through its lattice, scattering and recombining, tracing slow arcs across unfinished geometry. Now, that openness begins to narrow, not with urgency, with intention. At the outer edges of the frame, new elements awaken. These are not beams or struts, but surfaces broad, thin panels, engineered with precision beyond intuition. Each one is a continent of material, yet lighter than air would be on any world. They drift forward from distant assembly zones, guided along pre-calculated trajectories that curve gently into place. From afar, they resemble flakes of silver snow drifting toward a glowing sun. As they approach the frame, they do not collide or clang. They slow, align, and settle, guided by fields that cradle them into position. Edges meet edges with microscopic accuracy. Connections form not through force, but through resonance, frequencies matching, structures accepting one another, like pieces of a puzzle that has always known its final shape. The first panel locks into place. Nothing dramatic happens. No flash, no sound. Just a subtle change in how the star's light escapes. A single segment of brilliance is softened, diffused, redirected inward. The difference is almost philosophical rather than visual, a suggestion that something has begun. Then another panel joins, and another across the vast frame. This process unfolds slowly, methodically. The shell does not close like a door. It grows like a thought, completing itself. From within the structure, the change is profound. Light that once streamed freely into open space now meets gentle resistance. It touches surfaces engineered to receive it, absorb it, and guide it onward. The star's output is no longer lost to infinity. It is being held. The interior brightens, not because the star grows stronger, but because its light is now contained, circulated, redistributed, layered upon itself. Shadows soften. Illumination becomes uniform, omnipresent, without a single source point. Outside, the transformation is even more striking. From distant vantage points, the star begins to dim not in intensity, but in sharpness. Its edges blur as more of its light is intercepted. The brilliant disk that once dominated the void starts to flatten, becoming less a sun and more aglow behind a veil. Panel by panel, the shell closes. Each new section locks into the frame with precision that borders on reverence. The geometry aligns across distances, measured in millions of kilometers. Tiny imperfections are corrected instantly by adjustments, rippling through the entire structure. The shell is not rigid, it breathes. Thermal expansion and contraction are anticipated, absorbed by flexible joints and layered materials that distribute stress evenly. Nothing creaks, nothing strains. The structure adapts continuously, maintaining equilibrium. As the enclosure grows, the interior environment stabilizes. Energy flows become predictable, temperatures even out. Radiation that once blasted outward now circulates in controlled currents, feeding deeper systems that will one day power entire worlds. The star's surface is still visible from within, but it is changing in character. The glare softens into a constant, luminous presence, no longer a point of blinding intensity, but a diffuse ceiling of light stretching endlessly above. From outside, however, the transformation is profound. The star's once brilliant presence fades. Where there was light, now there is shadow. Where there was fire, now there is form. The shell takes on a dark, matte quality, not absorbing light, but redirecting it inward with near-perfect efficiency. To an external observer, the system begins to resemble a void carved into space, a place where light goes but does not return. As more panels seal the gaps, the star disappears piece by piece, not extinguished, hidden, encased within an architecture of cosmic scale. The final openings shrink slowly, like the closing of an enormous eye. Inside, the brightness reaches equilibrium. The interior glows with a soft, omnidirectional radiance, free of glare or shadow. Light arrives from all directions at once, diffused by countless reflective layers. Outside, silence deepens. The shell now dominates the region, a smooth, featureless sphere, absorbing starlight and emitting only a faint thermal whisper. Its surface temperature stabilizes, warm but gentle, radiating energy slowly and evenly into the cosmos. The contrast is absolute. Inside, abundance, illumination, potential. Outside, darkness, calm, anonymity. From afar, the structure appears almost unreal, a perfect black circle cut from the fabric of space. It does not shine, it does not glint, it simply is. A star has vanished. In its place floats a presence so precise, so complete, that it seems less like an object and more like an absence, a hole where brilliance once lived. Yet within that darkness, unimaginable energy flows. The shell is complete. The light has been gathered. The transformation is total. And in the quiet aftermath, as the last panel settles into place and the final alignment locks, the system exhales, not audibly, but in balance. The work of enclosure is finished. What remains is something new. A world turned inward, a sun made silent, a perfect vessel, ready to hold eternity. From the outside, it is no longer a star. Where once there was radiance, blinding, omnidirectional, impossible to look at, there is now absence, a presence defined not by what it emits, but by what it withholds. The sphere drifts through space like a thought, made solid, absorbing the cosmos around it into its silence. It does not glow, it does not reflect, it does not announce itself. It simply exists. The last photons from the star's surface strike the inner shell and are guided inward, folded into the vast internal architecture. None escape outward to the universe beyond. The star has gone dark, not extinguished, but hidden, wrapped in perfect geometry. From a distance, the sphere appears as a flawless circle cut from the background of stars. It is not black in the way shadows are black. It is deeper. It is the absence of reflection, the absence of signal, a void with mass, a presence defined by subtraction. Light from distant galaxies bends gently around it, curving as gravity dictates. Some of that light vanishes into the sphere's gravity, never to return. To an observer far away, it resembles a cosmic eclipse frozen in time. Yet, there is no violence here. The structure radiates calm. The shell's surface is smooth beyond any planetary terrain. No mountains, no craters, no seams. Its curvature is so vast that it appears perfectly flat when viewed close, yet impossibly curved when viewed whole. The temperature of the exterior is uniform, carefully regulated. Heat seeps outward slowly, evenly, in wavelengths tuned to blend into the background radiation of the universe. From a distance, it is nearly invisible, an object that hides not by camouflage, but by harmony. This is the art of stealth through balance. The sphere does not announce itself as a machine. It does not broadcast energy wastefully. It simply is existing in equilibrium with its surroundings. Drifting near it, one feels no turbulence, no disturbance. Space itself seems calmer in its presence, as if the gravitational gradients have been smoothed. The chaos of interstellar debris bends away, guided into slow, graceful arcs. There is a quiet authority to its mass. It does not pull violently, it invites. Inside, however, the story is different. Beneath the shell, an ocean of light circulates endlessly. The star's output, once flung heedlessly into space, is now captured and guided along vast interior channels. Light flows like a fluid, directed by mirrors and conduits that curve along the inner surface. There are no shadows inside, only gradients, no single direction of brightness, only a soft, omnipresent glow that seems to come from everywhere at once. Energy is stored, transformed, and redistributed with exquisite care. Some is converted into heat for interior climates. Some becomes motion, powering systems that span millions of kilometers. Some is held in reserve, banked against deep time. The interior hums not audibly, but conceptually, a sense of continuous activity without noise, a living equilibrium. Outside, however, the universe perceives none of this. To passing stars and drifting dust, the sphere is a silent monument, a dark punctuation mark in the cosmos. Light curves around it and continues on. Time flows past it without noticing. The contrast is profound. Within, abundance, light, structure, life to be without. Cold, distance, the ancient emptiness between stars. The shell has become a boundary between two realities. Its surface is not uniform, though it appears so from afar. At closer inspection, faint variations emerge, subtle patterns etched at scales too large to comprehend. These are not decorative, they are functional, heat exchangers, stress regulators, energy dispersal fields. They breathe slowly, thermal gradients shift over centuries. Micro-adjustments ripple across the surface to compensate for orbital perturbations, gravitational tides, and the slow evolution of the star within. Nothing is rigid. Everything is alive with correction. The sphere drifts along its orbit, perfectly balanced, neither gaining nor losing momentum. It is not anchored to anything. It simply belongs to the geometry of space. From certain angles, the black surface reflects a whisper of the cosmos, faint, distorted reflections of galaxies, stretched thin by curvature. From others, it vanishes entirely, becoming indistinguishable from the void behind it. It is both object and absence. Time passes. Eons could slide by without change. The shell would remain. The star within would burn steadily, its energy captured and repurposed with near-perfect efficiency. This is no longer a construction. It is an artifact, a statement written in mass and silence, a proof that intelligence once existed here, not through conquest, but through restraint. The universe around it continues its slow expansion. Galaxies drift apart, stars are born and die, light stretches and cools. The dark sphere endures. It does not interfere. It does not demand attention. It simply persists, a quiet vault of light, moving through the long night of space. And within it, unseen and untouched, the conditions for entire worlds are taking shape. The shell is complete. The star is held. The next phase will not be about building outward, but about turning inward, about creating a world inside a star's embrace. The transition is not marked by motion. There is no crossing of a threshold, no door, no moment where outside becomes inside. The shift happens quietly, through perspective, a subtle inversion of expectation. Gravity does not pull downward anymore. It pulls outward. You are inside the sphere now. At first, it feels disorienting. There is no ceiling, no floor, only a vast, curving horizon that rises in all directions, bending upward until it disappears above you. The ground beneath your awareness is not a plane but a gentle arc, so wide that curvature is only perceived over thousands of kilometers. This is the inner surface. It does not feel enclosed, quite the opposite. The space feels impossibly open, larger than any sky ever imagined. Where a planet's horizon curves away, limiting vision, this one curves upward, enclosing the observer within a continuous world. The star is no longer overhead. Instead, it is everywhere. Light fills the interior evenly, emanating from the inner shell itself. There is no single source casting shadows. Illumination arrives from all directions at once, soft and diffuse, like standing inside a glowing pearl. The sense of time becomes abstract, without a rising or setting sun. Here, gravity is gentle and precise. It is generated not by mass beneath your feet, but by rotation, by the slow, deliberate spin of the entire sphere. The outward centrifugal effect presses everything toward the inner surface with a calm, constant force, perfectly tuned to mimic the comfort of a planetary pull. There is no sense of falling, only belonging. The ground beneath is smooth at first glance, but when examined more closely, it reveals immense complexity. Layers upon layers of engineered terrain stretch outward. Plains, shallow basins, subtle ridges. These are not natural formations, yet they feel organic, shaped by intent rather than accident. The scale is overwhelming. Mountains here are not jagged peaks but vast rises, hundreds of kilometers wide, lifting gradually like the swell of an ocean. Valleys stretch for tens of thousands of kilometers, their curves so gentle they appear flat unless traced across continents. And above, always above, the inner sky arcs endlessly, a luminous dome of structured light. There are no stars here, no night, no day. The glow is constant, regulated, designed to mimic the average illumination of a calm afternoon on a peaceful world. The color temperature is warm but neutral, neither harsh nor dim. Clouds drift high above, but they are not weather yet. They are part of the atmospheric architecture, slow-moving condensations of vapor designed to regulate temperature and scatter light. They move with intention, guided by subtle flows of air. Wind exists, but only as a suggestion, a soft movement across the surface, carrying faint pressure changes rather than sound. It does not howl or gust, it circulates, equalizing climates across distances so vast they would dwarf continents. From this vantage, the sheer scale becomes almost impossible to comprehend. If one were to walk in a straight line, they would never reach an edge. The ground would curve gently upward until it met itself, completing a loop so large that entire planetary systems could exist within it. Above, the inner shell gleams faintly, its surface patterned with structural lines, great arcs and intersections that hint at the framework beyond. These are not cracks or seams, but reinforcement ribs, distributing stress across unimaginable distances. Light glides along them, diffused and softened. There is no sun here, yet everything is lit. The sensation is deeply calming. The absence of shadows creates a sense of safety, of constancy. There are no sudden changes, no sharp contrasts. The world feels balanced, intentional. Energy flows beneath the surface, unseen. Beneath the terrain lie layers of systems, conduits carrying power, regulating temperature, maintaining structural integrity. These are hidden, silent, ever vigilant. Above them, the surface remains serene. Over time, variation emerges. Subtle shifts in color indicate regions of different function, some warmer, some cooler, some designed for growth, others for rest. Vast expanses await future oceans, forests, and cities, though for now they lie pristine, untouched. The scale invites contemplation. A single step covers almost nothing. A lifetime of walking would barely scratch the surface. Entire histories could unfold here without ever nearing an edge. And yet, despite its immensity, the environment feels intimate. It responds gently to presence. Pressure adjusts. Temperature stabilizes. The system acknowledges occupancy without intrusion. This is not a wilderness carved by chance. It is a world sculpted with foresight. From certain vantage points, the curvature becomes visible again, subtle but undeniable. Looking far enough, the terrain rises into the sky, meeting itself in a distant arc. It is a reminder that this is not a planet, but a habitat wrapped around a star. Time passes differently here. Without a day-night cycle, rhythms are internal. Light does not fade. It simply shifts in tone, mimicking the slow breathing of the structure itself. A gentle brightening, a gentle dimming cycles measured in hours, days, or years. Depending on need, there is no urgency, no storms, no tectonic violence, no erosion. Everything exists in equilibrium, maintained by systems that operate far beyond human timescales. The interior of the sphere is not merely a place. It is a promise of stability, of continuity, of a future unbound by the fragility of planetary surfaces. Here, life could stretch outward indefinitely, unafraid of extinction by cosmic accident. Here, civilizations could grow without pressing against the limits of their world. The inner surface waits, not empty, but prepared. A foundation vast enough to hold dreams measured not in centuries, but in eons. And above it all, the light remains steady, quiet, patient, eternal. The sky is not built all at once. It emerges. At first, there is only light and space, an immense interior illuminated from every direction, calm and constant. Then, gradually, the atmosphere begins to exist not as a boundary, but as a presence. It begins at the lowest densities. Invisible gases seep into the vast interior, released not from vents or pipes, but from distributed membranes, woven throughout the shell itself. The release is so slow it would take centuries to measure a change with human senses. Molecules drift outward, colliding gently, dispersing, learning the shape of the world they now inhabit. There is no rush to fill the space. Pressure builds patiently, layer by layer, kilometer by kilometer. The interior volume is so vast that even oceans of atmosphere feel like mist at first. Gravity subtle, steady begins to shape the flow, encouraging gases to settle against the inner surface, forming the earliest hint of sky. It is a sky without weather. Yet, at first, it is perfectly still, a thin, transparent veil stretching overhead, nearly invisible, except for the way it softens light. Rays that once traveled unimpeded now diffuse gently, scattering into gradients that smooth the brightness of the inner world. The light becomes kinder. Where once illumination was uniform, now it gains depth. Distance becomes perceptible. Faraway terrain takes on a faint bluish haze, a suggestion of atmosphere without density. As the days, if they can be called that, pass, additional layers are introduced. Nitrogen, oxygen, trace elements measured to the molecule. Each addition changes the behavior of light and heat. The interior breathes, slowly acquiring the texture of a living sky. Clouds are not yet formed, but the air begins to move. Subtle convection currents arise as temperature gradients develop between regions of differing illumination. These currents are gentle, graceful, almost imperceptible. They drift like thoughts, unhurried and purposeful. There is no turbulence. Every flow is dampened, smoothed by design. The goal is not weather, but harmony. High above, near the inner shell, specialized membranes begin to glow faintly. These are the light diffusers, vast structures that modulate the star's energy into rhythms that feel natural, cyclical. They do not mimic a sun rising or setting. Instead, they create a slow breathing of brightness. The world brightens slightly, then dims over long intervals. A day that lasts weeks, a twilight that lingers for years below. The forming atmosphere responds. Temperature gradients sharpen just enough to encourage movement. Gentle updrafts carry warmth upward. Cooler air glides downward in return. The result is a circulation so smooth it feels intentional. Like the slow turning of a colossal wheel, moisture is introduced next. Not rain, not yet, just vapor. Water released in quantities so fine it takes decades to accumulate. It gathers in invisible layers, bonding with dust and aerosols, seeded intentionally throughout the air. Clouds begin as whispers. Thin, translucent veils drift high above, catching the light and bending it into soft gradients. They are not chaotic, they are sculpted. Their shapes are influenced by the geometry of the sphere itself, forming immense arcs that mirror the curvature of the world. From below, they appear as luminous rivers flowing across the sky. Light filters through them in gentle diffusion, creating the illusion of depth and distance that the mind instinctively recognizes as sky. There is no harshness, no glare, only calm illumination that shifts so slowly it feels eternal. The atmosphere thickens over time. Pressure increases, still carefully regulated. The air gains weight. It begins to feel present, something that can be breathed, something that can move against skin, though no life yet inhabits it. Sound, still absent, finds potential. The medium exists now, ready to carry vibrations, even if none yet travel through it. Temperature stabilizes. The interior climate settles into a narrow, comfortable range. Heat from the star, now thoroughly diffused, is distributed evenly around the sphere. No hot spots, no cold shadows, just a global equilibrium. As centuries pass, clouds grow denser. They begin to layer high, thin cirrus, like forms far above, and broader, softer masses below. They drift slowly, guided by planetary scale circulation patterns designed to prevent stagnation. These clouds do not rain yet. They gather, they move. They learn the contours of the world beneath them. Light becomes increasingly complex. The inner surface reflects subtle hues upward, greens, blues, pale ambers, tinting the underside of the clouds. The sky responds, shifting in color almost imperceptibly, creating the illusion of time passing even without a sun's arc. It feels like dawn that never fully arrives, or twilight that never ends. In some regions, illumination is tuned warmer, evoking the comfort of afternoon light. In others, cooler tones dominate, creating calm expanses of silver, blue serenity. The sky becomes a canvas of gradients, never static, never dramatic, a slow, continuous becoming. Eventually, the first true weather patterns emerge, not storms, nothing violent, but circulation cells spanning thousands of kilometers. Warm air rises slowly from the interior surface, cools as it ascends, then drifts laterally before sinking again. These movements create gentle winds, barely perceptible but constant. The sensation is one of quiet motion. Air brushes across the landscape in long, steady currents. It carries faint scents, mineral, clean, neutral, derived from the materials below. There is no decay, no pollution, no chaos. The system regulates itself with exquisite balance. Above it all, the shell remains invisible, its presence only implied by the way light behaves. It is a ceiling that cannot be seen, a sky that has no edge. The interior world feels infinite. Looking upward, the curvature is so vast it appears flat. The clouds never meet a horizon. They simply continue, drifting until they fade into the glow. The concept of up becomes philosophical. The atmosphere is now complete. It holds pressure, temperature, light, and motion in perfect harmony. It is neither Earth's sky nor anything known before. It is a sky designed not by weather, but by understanding. A sky that will endure for millions of years without collapse or chaos. A sky that will cradle entire civilizations beneath it, long after the stars outside have shifted and dimmed. The artificial sky breathes. The world within the sphere exhales. And beneath that endless canopy, the next transformation waits. One of scale, of land, of oceans and mountains, rising beneath a sky that never ends. There is no eruption, no tectonic violence, no grinding of plates or shattering of crust. Instead, the surface beneath the artificial sky begins to shape itself through quiet intention. Matter shifts slowly, guided by gradients of pressure, gravity, and time. What will one day be mountains, oceans, and plains begins as subtle curvature, barely perceptible deviations in an otherwise smooth interior shell. At first, the ground feels endless and uniform, but then the horizon changes. Not abruptly, never abruptly, but with a gentleness that challenges perception. The line where the surface meets the sky begins to arc upward, ever so slightly. A curve so broad it could only be seen across thousands of kilometers. The world reveals itself not as flat, but as embracing. You stand on a surface that curves upward in all directions. There is no edge. There is no distance at which the land falls away. Instead, it rises endlessly, looping back toward itself, a continuous world without boundaries. This is the infinite horizon. Beneath the surface, massive substructures awaken, geological frameworks engineered to mimic the deep rhythms of planetary formation without the violence. Mantle-like layers shift slowly, redistributing mass with exquisite care. Heat flows upward in controlled gradients, never enough to destabilize, always enough to sustain. Mountains begin as whispers, a faint swelling of the surface, a gentle lifting measured in meters over centuries. There is no tectonic collision here, no plates grinding or shattering. Instead, the land is coaxed upward by controlled expansion, guided by subterranean architecture. The result is breathtaking in its restraint. Ranges emerge not as jagged scars, but as vast, rolling ascents that stretch for thousands of kilometers. Peaks rise high enough to pierce the upper cloud layers, yet their slopes are smooth, ancient in appearance, even as they are newly formed. From a distance, these mountains resemble frozen waves, caught mid-motion in a sea of stone. Between them, valleys unfold, immense basins where gravity draws material downward in slow, elegant curves. These depressions become cradles for future oceans, places where water will gather and rest. The scale defies intuition. An ocean here is not a basin between continents. It is a continent itself. A single body of water can span millions of square kilometers, its curvature barely perceptible from any single vantage point. Shores stretch so far they dissolve into haze, giving the impression of infinite reach. Water arrives gradually, not in torrents, but in mist. Moisture condenses from the thickening atmosphere, falling in fine veils that take centuries to accumulate. Drop by drop, molecule by molecule, the oceans are born. They deepen slowly, darkening from pale silver to rich blues as depth increases. The first waves are almost imperceptible. There is no wind, yet strong enough to stir them. The surfaces remain glassy, reflecting the soft glow of the sky above. Over time, gentle circulation patterns develop, driven by subtle temperature differences across the vast interior. Currents form, slow and immense. They move heat, nutrients, and energy across distances larger than planets, shaping the climate of the entire inner world. Above, clouds respond. They gather more densely above warming regions, thinning over cooler expanses. The sky becomes dynamic, not chaotic, but expressive. Long bands of cloud arc across the dome, echoing the curvature of the land below. Light scatters through them in endless gradients, pale golds, silvers, soft blues, and hints of green. There is no single source of brightness. Illumination is everywhere and nowhere at once. The sense of scale grows overwhelming. Mountains that would dwarf Everest appear as gentle swells. Seas larger than Earth's entire surface curve away until they fade into atmospheric haze. Distances stretch beyond comprehension, yet everything feels reachable, connected by the unbroken continuity of the inner surface. Time passes in broad strokes. Erosion begins, not destructive, but sculptural. Wind and water shape the land slowly, deliberately, smoothing edges and deepening channels. The world acquires texture, memory, and history even before life appears. Subtle variations emerge across regions. Some areas warm slightly, encouraging evaporation and cloud formation. Others cool, allowing moisture to settle into vast inland seas. The climate organizes itself into patterns that repeat around the sphere, creating belts of temperature and moisture that drift slowly over centuries. The world breathes. From any single point, the horizon always curves upward, always enclosing. There is no sense of isolation, no fear of falling into space. The sky is a dome of belonging. Looking far across the land, one might see distant mountain chains rising into the luminous haze, or the faint shimmer of oceans reflecting the overhead glow. The scale is humbling, yet strangely comforting. There are no borders here, no edges, only continuity. The infinite horizon creates a sense of timelessness. Without sunrise or sunset, without night or day, time becomes a gentle flow rather than a series of moments. Life, when it comes, will adapt to rhythms defined not by rotation, but by balance. The environment is complete enough now to sustain complexity. Air moves, water cycles, energy flows, stability reigns. The world is ready to be inhabited, not by accident, not by survival, but by design. A place where civilizations could rise without fearing extinction. from cosmic randomness, a world where the sky does not fall and the ground does not crack, a world shaped not by chaos, but by patience. And as the infinite horizon settles into equilibrium, the stage is set for something new to awaken beneath it. Life, culture, and thought will soon take root. But first, the world must learn to hold them. Life does not arrive suddenly. It unfolds, not as an invasion of green or a sudden bloom of motion, but as a gentle accumulation of patterns, systems, learning to sustain themselves within the calm geometry of the inner world. The environment is already stable, already patient. It does not need to be conquered or reshaped. It waits. The first forms of life are simple, almost symbolic, self-organizing chemical structures that drift within the air and water, responding to gradients of light and energy. They move not to survive, but to harmonize. They gather where conditions are ideal, disperse where balance tips too far. Growth here is not competitive, it is cooperative. From these foundations, complexity arises slowly. The absence of extremes, no freezing nights, no scorching days, no catastrophic storms, allows evolution to proceed without desperation. Change happens gradually, guided by optimization rather than struggle. Forms emerge that are efficient, graceful, and stable, adapted to a world that never demands violence to persist. In time, intelligence awakens, not suddenly, not singularly, but in many places at once. Minds develop within a context of abundance, so complete that survival is never the central concern. Curiosity replaces fear as the primary driver of growth. Civilization here is not born from conflict, but from understanding. Structures rise gently from the surface cities that float rather than stand, supported by controlled fields that anchor them softly to the ground below. Their architecture echoes the curvature of the world itself, smooth arcs, layered terraces, open volumes that welcome light from every direction. There are no walls meant to keep others out. Space is not something to be defended, but something to be shared. These cities do not sprawl, they unfold. Each is placed with careful regard for climate flows, energy distribution, and ecological balance. From above, they resemble living diagrams, patterns of habitation woven seamlessly into the landscape. Energy is everywhere. Light harvested from the star flows through the interior like a circulatory system, routed through conduits, beneath the surface, and through the air itself. There are no power plants in the traditional sense. Every structure participates in the exchange, drawing what it needs and returning the excess. This abundance reshapes society. There is no scarcity to fight over, no need for hierarchy built on control of resources. Value shifts away from possession and toward creation, exploration, understanding. Time is experienced differently here. Without nightfall or seasonal urgency, daily rhythms soften. Activity flows in cycles measured not by clocks but by internal states. Periods of focus, of rest, of contemplation. Life extends comfortably across centuries, perhaps millennia, supported by medicine and environment, so advanced they feel indistinguishable from nature itself. Knowledge accumulates slowly and deliberately. Education is not confined to institutions. It permeates the environment. Information is ambient, accessible through light, sound, and subtle shifts in space. Learning becomes an act of curiosity rather than obligation. The inner surface becomes a tapestry of cultures, each shaped by its local geography, yet connected through the shared sky above. Some communities prefer the quiet of high plateaus, where the air is thin and the view endless. Others gather near the great inland seas, where reflections ripple endlessly beneath the luminous sky. Transportation is silent and fluid. Vessels glide through the air or skim across water without turbulence. Travel across thousands of kilometers feels effortless, unburdened by fuel or time constraints. The world feels vast yet intimately connected. Art flourishes. Without the pressure of survival, creativity becomes a central expression. of existence. Entire landscapes are shaped as living artworks. Forests arranged to sing with the wind. Cities designed to cast evolving shadows that mark the passage of time. Music is woven into architecture, resonating softly as structures respond to movement and weather. Even silence is cultivated. There are regions preserved purely for quiet expanses where sound dissipates completely, allowing minds to rest in stillness. In these places, thought itself seems to slow, aligning with the deep rhythms of the sphere. The relationship with the star remains central. Its energy is no longer seen as something to be used, but as something to be honored. Vast observatories monitor its cycles, not out of fear, but reverence. The star is a partner, a constant presence that makes all of this possible. Generations pass. History accumulates, not as conflict, but as story. Memory is preserved in light, in structures that gently adapt over time, in patterns that record change without decay. The civilization matures into something stable, self-aware, and serene. It does not seek to expand outward aggressively. The universe beyond the sphere remains vast and mysterious, but there is no urgency to conquer it. Exploration happens slowly, thoughtfully, with respect for the scales involved. Here, existence is not a race. It is a continuity. The people, if they can still be called that, live long lives filled with meaning, not because time is abundant, but because it is respected. Each moment has space to breathe. The interior world becomes a sanctuary of consciousness, a place where intelligence and environment coexist without friction. And above it all, the artificial sky glows softly, unchanged, eternal. The civilization of light endures, not as a monument to dominance, but as a testament to restraint, to harmony, to patience. And beyond the shell, the universe continues its slow expansion, unaware of the quiet perfection unfolding within. Nothing announces the passing of ages here. Time does not tick or march forward. It flows smooth, unbroken, without edges. Inside the sphere, centuries drift by like slow breaths, and millennia pass as gently as clouds crossing the inner sky. The world has reached equilibrium, not a static stillness, but a living balance so refined it appears effortless. Energy circulates endlessly through the interior, captured from the star and redistributed with perfect efficiency. Nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed. Everything exists in a state of continuous renewal. The star at the center burns on. Its fusion remains steady, predictable, serene. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium, in time, will become something else. The processes that govern its life unfold across timescales, so vast they feel eternal. Yet even now, the systems surrounding it anticipate change. The sphere is not merely a container. It is an engine, a machine that thinks in epochs. Deep within its structure, layers of computation and adaptation monitor the star's subtle evolution. As luminosity increases over eons, the inner systems respond, adjusting energy distribution, modulating heat flow, expanding habitable zones outward along the inner surface. The world does not age. It migrates where heat once was ideal. It becomes warm. Where cold once lingered, warmth arrives. Entire ecosystems shift gradually, following invisible gradients of comfort. Nothing is lost. Everything transitions. Civilizations adapt without crisis. They have grown accustomed to thinking in geological time. Their architecture is flexible, their cities mobile in concept if not in motion. Culture evolves with patience, never pressured by extinction, never threatened by scarcity. The star remains a constant presence overhead, no longer a sun in the sky, but a heart beneath the world. Its light, filtered and softened, suffuses the interior with a gentle glow that never blinds and never fades. Outside, the universe continues its slow expansion. Galaxies drift apart, distant stars burn out. The cosmic background cools imperceptibly, but within the sphere, warmth and light endure, maintained by careful stewardship and deep foresight. The contrast grows more profound with time. From the outside, the Dyson Sphere is nearly invisible. It radiates so evenly that it blends into the cosmic background, a near-perfect blackbody. To distant observers, it might appear as a strange absence, a place where light should be but is not. Yet inside, life flourishes. Civilizations mature and dissolve into new forms. Knowledge accumulates not as data, but as understanding. Art evolves beyond representation into experiences that unfold across centuries. Thought itself becomes a kind of architecture. There is no urgency to expand outward. The universe beyond is vast, but it is also patient. The sphere contains all that is needed: energy, space, continuity. Time stretches. Stars die elsewhere. Galaxies collide. Cosmic structures unravel. But the engine endures, adapting quietly, reshaping its internal balance to match the changing universe around it. Eventually, the star itself will change. Hydrogen will thin, fusion will slow, the light at the center will soften, redden, expand. But even this is anticipated. Layers of the sphere adjust, moving habitation outward, harvesting energy more efficiently, preserving equilibrium. The star's final phases are not feared. They are incorporated. When fusion wanes, stored energy takes over. When matter thins, processes shift. The sphere becomes less dependent on its original heart, transitioning into a closed-loop system sustained by the energy it has long stored and recycled. In time, deep time, the star will fade completely, and still the sphere will remain. It will drift through the galaxy as a relic of intention, a sanctuary built not to conquer nature, but to outlast it. A vessel of memory, carrying within it the accumulated consciousness of ages. The outside universe grows darker. Entropy advances, the night deepens. Inside, light persists. The sphere becomes a quiet archive of existence, a place where thought, memory, and experience continue long after the last natural stars have burned out. Eventually, even this era will pass. The engine will slow. Processes will stretch across unimaginable durations. Energy will thin to whispers. Time itself will lose meaning. But the design ensures that nothing ends abruptly. The final state is not darkness, but rest. A slow settling into equilibrium with the cosmos itself. No collapse, no catastrophe, just a gentle fading of motion. As the last stored energies dissipate into the infinite calm, the Dyson Sphere becomes less a machine and more a monument, a final expression of order in a universe trending toward silence. And in that silence, there is peace, not emptiness, completion. A structure that began as an idea, light gathered, order shaped, ends as a quiet echo in the fabric of space-time, a testament to what intelligence can achieve when guided by patience rather than fear. The universe continues, the sphere rests, and somewhere in the vast quiet, the memory of light endures.